With the Death Watch in charge of Mandalore, the former Sith Maul and his brother Savage Opress are arrested in their own plans to take over the planet, but break out to defeat the leader Viszla and claim the army for themselves. With the power of Mandalore in his hands, Maul cleverly uses the former ruler Duchess Satine to lure his old foe Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he begins to grow in power, with the death of Satine brutally hurting the Jedi. But the increase in his power arrived at a cost, as he had been sensed by his old master Darth Sidious. The Sith Lord travelled from Coruscant and landed by the palace to find the Zabraks, to demonstrate who the real Sith was. Sidious toyed with his opponents, stabbing Savage as the Nightsister Magic flowed out of his body, and Maul was fueled by hate. The Zabrak proved to be no match for Sidious, and he spent the rest of his life trying to defeat Sidious and Obi-Wan, but to no avail. But what if he had tried to revive Savage instead of pursuing Sidious and Obi-Wan? Would he finally succeed? As you're going to find out, the change of objective could have changed his life also. On his journey to retrieve a Sith holocron, Maul looked at his navigational computer and saw the image of a sleek looking ship on his radar, which belonged to that of the Inquisitor, the 8th brother. Maul dived down into the outskirts of the ancient Sith temple, docking his ship in the middle of the trees. As he ventured through to the superweapon, he glanced up to the skies and caught sight of a rebel ship, so decided he would allow them to make their move, jumping into the underground tunnels. Maul's plan is a success, as young Ezra Bridger dropped into Maul's level from the old battlefield, and the Zabrak lures Ezra to the dark side. After they retrieve the Sith holocron, the two Force users unite with the skeptical rebels, and Maul does not trust Ezra enough to take the holocron to the temple's obelisk, with his brother's life on the line, and together they ascend away from the rebels to the top. Maul senses the arriving Vader, and just manages to activate the power within, before rolling to the side of the cliff face. Vader's approach to the temple's summit is cut short, as he is blasted off of the top of his TIE Advanced starfighter and into the ground below with the rebels, as Maul and Ezra manage to get away in Maul's ship. On the remains of the planet, Ahsoka had been the first to get up and started to lift the rubble from crushing the rebels, when she saw the prosthetic fist of Vader punch through the rocks. Ahsoka reluctantly walked to the Sith and sliced his control panel to prevent any further trouble, as she took care of the others whilst waiting for Hera Syndulla. The ghost eventually arrives, and Ahsoka leaves her old master, unable to bring herself to kill him, and begin the chase to rescue Ezra from the darkness of Maul. The chase did not take a large amount of time, as the Zabrak knew from Ezra that Kanan had a holocron, and manipulated his apprentice to take it back from the rebels. Maul guided Ezra to an Imperial TIE fighter, and orders him to track the rebel ship using his connection to them. Ezra does not require any form of tracking, as he knew the others had agreed to meet on Atollon, and landed shortly after them. Ezra struggled to hide the dark side that had arisen from the exposure to the Sith holocron, but managed to find a path to the ghost, then to Kanan's quarters and his holocron. The rebels had been gathering for their next mission, and had not noticed the disappearance of Ezra until it had taken off, as he left to join Maul. Together, Ezra and Maul fused the holocrons, and Maul saw that he had to return to Dathomir, whilst Ezra had visions of the twin suns on Tatooine. Maul firstly had to retrieve his fallen brother, and remembered that he had not seen it on Mandalore after his escape from Stygion Prime, so he decided to go to the base of Lord Vader on Mustafar. As they are pursued by the rebels, the planet is notably not fortified, as the Empire is still searching for its enforcer on the Emperor's orders. Using the dark side to breach the first line of defences, they enter a strange room and find a number of Vader's victims dangling in force fields, and as they walk through the dimly lit room, they see Savage. Maul and Ezra knock the cage of the totally deceased Zabrak, and soon alarms begin to scream around them. The Force users find the area locked from all angles, so they use their combined might to punch a hole in one of the weakened walls, and to the outside. There Ezra has to battle the Imperial troopers, as Maul carries his brother, and shifts the lava into the troops, giving them the path to their escape. Now it was time for Maul to revive his brother, just as he had been planning for. That is it for part 1 of What If Darth Maul Revived His Brother. If you'd like to see a part 2 soon, please like this video, turn on your notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.